It's week 7, baby. It's week 7. Let's go. We got week 7 upon us. We're ready to kick off this week. We're ready to get your start sit questions in. So please, fantasy football discussion, big shout out to you guys. Get your questions in the chat. We want to be able to answer all of those questions. So keep them coming. Big shout out to you guys on YouTube, youtube.com/fantasy intervention. Once again, that's youtube.com/fantasy intervention. Man, we got all sorts of fun stuff to talk about, and I'm here with my boy Dave to discuss your start sit questions. Dave, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Doing well, man. I'm kind of nervous. This is the first time that the Giants are kind of expected to win, so we'll see if we fall flat on our face or if we keep it going. But yeah, I'm just here for the ride. Didn't expect it to be 1-6. We're 6-1. It's fun. And this is a brutal bye week schedule. We have some really, really good players that are on bye this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had some top teams out there that made things tough. Obviously, the Vikings have a bye week. We have the Bills with a bye week. What were the other two? Was it the Rams?
Yeah, the Rams are on bye, and I had to look up the other.
We already say Vikings. Yeah, we said Vikings.
Yep.
Of course. Well, anyways, and the Eagles. So. Yeah, we have a bunch of stuff going on with the bye weeks. It's almost like a bye week hell to an extent. But the thing about bye week hell is the fact that you normally have 6 teams on bye during that week, or 8 teams, whatever the number is. So it's funny to sit there and consider a 4-team bye week bye hell, but it's because there's so many top options that people are scrambling on the waivers. So we are here to help you out. I already see the questions coming in. And before we get started on the questions, we're going to go over a few different actives and inactives just to make the questions easier. So that way, if somebody ends up having a question that involves an inactive, you can just eliminate that player right here. But before we get started on that, we do have a complicated situation I want to discuss with the Ravens, because we now have Kenyon Drake, who went off last week after J.K. Dobbins sustained some tightness in his knee. We have Justice Hill coming back, who played over Kenyon Drake the previous week. And then we also have Gus Edwards coming off of the PUP list or the IR. So for me personally, I don't want to touch this backfield at all until I see how it shakes out. And even after then, I don't love it. I was a big J.K. Dobbins truther. I love the offense and the way this operates, but this makes things tough. So for me personally, I don't want to dive into to this backfield until I see how it shakes out. I will eliminate any one of these players from my roster unless it's a desperate 16-team league where you have to start 12 guys, and it makes things super, super murky. But I really don't want to play any of these guys. If I have to play one, though, it would be Justice Hill. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, it's definitely a scenario where you don't want to play any of them. I have all 3 of them ranked outside of my top 24. But like you said, it is a kind of a mini hell bye week, and we got some tough decisions to make. Plus, you got injuries. DeAndre Swift is out. There's some other guys. The CMC trade just wiped Jeff Wilson off the board. So, it's tough. I think Thomas hopefully can help us out and give us the real answer here. Because Gus Edwards could steal a touchdown and ruin everybody's day here, and have 3 or 4 carries and get a touchdown, and the other guys do the bulk of the work.
Do you remember hearing in 2020? Also, good morning, everybody. I'm here after winterizing my house as we have reports of snow coming in from up north. And you remember in 2020 when everyone was like, this backfield's gonna be so murky with Lamar Jackson and Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. Well, it's that, but with worse options, right? You treat it that murky with worse options. Right, Dobbins.
Yeah, what was the other one? Mark Ingram, I think, in 2020.
Yeah, it was a trio of just absolute clownery, and it's what you're gonna get now. You're Jake. Oh my God, Kenyon Drake was so good last week. He had 2 long runs. That's it. So I think you're right, Facebook user. Please get a picture and a name so we can call you out appropriately. I think you're right. I think if you're playing the Ravens backfield, it's going to be for DFS. You don't want them in your fantasy. I'd rather play guys like Huntley, Algier. I'd rather play those guys, honestly.
Yeah, and Facebook user does say plugging in Hill for DFS sneaky play. I mean, he's sitting there at 4,200, but what really is his ceiling? He's going to need a breakaway run. He's going to need to see 60% of the touches back there. And I don't know if that happens this week. I'm thinking more about 50, 40%. So I understand he's still huge value, but you're going to have to see touchdowns. You're going to have to get those touchdowns. And it is a good matchup, though. I would have loved to play J.K. Dobbins up against the Browns if he didn't have that knee tightness.
The problem is it's a good matchup for everyone else. It's not a good matchup for Baltimore when they're going to stack 9 in the box. You know what I mean? They're going to bring everyone up because Bateman's, even if he's playing, he's not 100%. They're going to do what they always do, throw it. And what does that mean? They're stacking the box in Cleveland. They play every time you see a good matchup against the run and then it's against Baltimore and you think it's a good matchup, it's not, because every team plays them differently. You can't just plug and play the matchup game.
I don't know if they're going to stack the box, to be honest, because Denzel Ward's out. So they're going to have to play a couple guys deep. Now, do they stack the box more often than they would against a normal team? Absolutely. But I still don't think this is a good run D. All right, so let's go ahead and let's discuss some of these injuries that are out there, and then we'll get started on your starter sit questions. I see we have a bunch in the chat. Big shout out to Mark and the other Facebook users that are in here, guys. Go ahead, bring those questions. We will answer them. Is there any injury that's standing out to you guys as a little bit of a surprise? Something that is going to tilt lineups that would, bring things into favor for a player or completely eliminate another guy? We saw Juwan Johnson on Thursday night absolutely crush and melt souls pretty much over there for the Saints. So is there anything that could do something similar over there?
I don't think so. I mean, Russell Wilson being out is big news. The way he's been playing, I don't know if that truly downgrades everybody, but Rippon has had one start, and in that start, it was against a really bad Jets defense, and he still threw 3 interceptions. He has one of the worst low light reels from training camp, where he basically rolled the ball.
Yeah.
It could get pretty ugly over there. And so the Broncos defense was a play, and now the Broncos defense is a little bit harder, and the Jets are into play. And it could make things very interesting for all of the Jets weapons if they have good field position and have good time possession.
Thomas, do you have a player?
I just want to point out that it was so funny to me that when Russell Wilson was ruled out,
Cortland Sutton's projection went up.
I missed that. That's funny as shit. Awesome.
There's no one that stands out right off the top of my head. At this point of the year, we kind of understand how things are working. There shouldn't really be too many surprises on if somebody is at who are you putting in, who does it affect, because we've kind of seen it all already. There's no one off the top of my head that truly jumps out, except for, as he mentioned, Russell Wilson and how it affects some pieces around him.
I will say that it's interesting that we have DeAndre Swift out, because we expected DeAndre Swift to come back following the bye week. So I think that's a little bit of a shocker. Obviously, get Jamal Williams, Craig Reynolds, at least in a flex position. If you have any questions about them, we'll go ahead and answer them. Let's go ahead and get started on this start or sit show with your questions. Facebook user in here says, Darnell Mooney or Garrett Wilson? Dude, this is tough. Do you think Garrett Wilson sees the Patrick Surtain treatment this week? Because I think that he will.
I don't think it matters. I don't think you play Garrett Wilson anyway.
Really?
Yeah.
He's seeing the targets. He's running the routes. He's out there on the plays. I like Garrett Wilson in most weeks, but up against, this coverage that Patrick Surtain has laid on everybody outside of Devontae Adams, which Devontae Adams still struggled to an extent and could have had a much bigger game if he didn't match up against Patrick Surtain. Garrett Wilson for me is almost out, but Darnell Mooney's far from a play that I want to run in there.
Yeah, this is another bad scenario where you're picking which wide receiver 3 are you going to plug into your lineup, and they're both mid are wide receiver 3s. So I'll go with Wilson here. I believe that the passing volume will be there. Mooney, they're gonna get the Patriots. I'm not sure what that's going to look like. They don't have a shutdown corner or anything like that. But Mooney will definitely get quite a lot of attention out there because he's the only weapon.
I'm more concerned about. And by the way, the Patriots do a great job of taking away one option that could end up being, Darnell Mooney, where they just completely erase him from the entire game. But I'm more concerned about what this team is going to do to Justin Fields than I am, what they're going to do to Darnell Mooney, because Justin Fields is probably going to end up having one of his worst games of the season up against the Patriots, who really thrive up against some of these young quarterbacks. All right.
So the problem playing Garrett Wilson is he hasn't hit 10 PPR points in 3 weeks, and it's getting worse for that team progressively. And Darnell Mooney is actually seeing an uptick in his usage, so they're kind of flip-flopping right now. Like Mooney's coming off 12 targets. They may not have been fun targets or exciting targets or even good targets, but they existed. So if they are shifting their usage, then that's why I'm picking. I think Wilson's a far better player. But you're right. Not only does he have the Surtain situation, they might go up a lot with ripping in. They may not be throwing it. Salah kind of looks like he's going full Arthur Smith right now. I would actually very scarily want to play Darnell Mooney ahead just because the roles look like they're flipping. But we'll see.
Yeah, I'm probably going to lean Darnell Mooney on this one. But, I mean, it's not pretty either way. Make sure y'all go.
Don't watch.
Yeah, make sure you guys head over to Fantasy Football Discussion on Facebook. Give us a thumbs up. If you're watching on the group and you're seeing this Facebook user without an image on it, it's because you're watching from the group itself. Head over to Fantasy Football Discussion, the page. Hit subscribe or hit like. Follow us over there, and your picture will actually show up in the comments, so we can properly address you and get to know you from week to week if you decide to join us again the following week. If you're watching over there on Facebook, like I said, make sure you give us a thumbs up. If you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/fantasy intervention. Once again, that's youtube.com/fantasy intervention. Make sure you hit subscribe, hit like. We really appreciate it. I do see it down here. BTD Reacts. We will get to your question, man. Thanks for the support over there on YouTube. Jamie, I see you as well. All right, Mark Goodman over there. He wants to know whether he should flex James Robinson, Latavius Murray, or Wilson. I'm guessing is that Jeff Wilson or Garrett Wilson? Mark, let us know in the chat. If one of you guys, Dave or Thomas, could keep an eye on the bottom of the chat while I'm still up here at the top, just to see if he responds. Let us know if that's Jeff Wilson or Garrett Wilson. I'm guessing it's Jeff.
Oh, this is disgusting.
I actually don't hate James Robinson this week. They're up against the Giants, and the Giants really struggle up against these run up the middle type running backs that just want to pound and pound and pound away. We do see a projected win total for the Giants, but I think if the Jaguars can stay competitive, they're going to use James Robinson. I don't think that James Robinson is the better back. I don't think that that's what they should do, but we see Travis Etienne come in during more of a negative game script, a positive game script or a neutral game script. I think we see slightly more James Robinson. I don't love this, but James Robinson is probably the pick for me. How do y'all feel?
Man.
Yeah, it's tough. I'll go with James Robinson as well on this one. The Giants are more like kind of a funnel defense where they're trying to avoid the big plays. So they're allowing they're not, I won't say allowing the run, but they're not as focused on stopping the run. They're more focused on the big plays and the passing game. And if you want to get 3 or 4 yards, they're going to give it to you because they don't want that big play.
Man, I have no real take on this, so I'll agree with the two people that have intelligent takes on it. It's fairly disgusting. So I'll take James Robinson because why not?
All right. Zach, I don't know what your response was to, but he said Taylor, Garrett Wilson, or Juju.
Juju.
Juju Smith-Schuster had a big week last week. I think they continue to utilize him in that role. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game. I'm going to take Juju. I don't really want anything to do with the Jets and Broncos game at all, especially with Brett Ripien now in. Outside of maybe Breece Hall, I would absolutely play Breece Hall. But outside of that, I don't even know if I want to play Cortland Sutton.
You've heard it here first. Chase said he would start Clyde over Breece Hall because he doesn't want a piece of the Jets. You've heard it here first.
Yeah, Juju as well.
All right, Jamal Williams or Zeke. It's interesting because Jamal Williams should see the primary role over there. Do you guys which way are you leaning? Excuse me. Wow, I'm struggling this morning. Dave, which way are you leaning?
Jamal.
I'll take Elliott. Detroit's run defense is so bad, and Dallas is so stubborn that I just have a weird feeling that they're just gonna hammer it with Zeke for 22 unnecessary attempts. And against Detroit, I'll take that. Even if he does move like molasses now.
I am taking Zeke. I really like Tony Pollard this week for like the first time ever. I love Tony Pollard this week up against the Lions, but I think that Zeke gets his workload in and could obviously see a touchdown in what could be a very high scoring game. If Lions go down early, Jamal Williams probably won't see the field as often because Craig Reynolds is that pass catching back. All right, Kirk or Njoku?
Christian Kirk for me.
I love Njoku this week as a sneaky play for DFS. I do not want to play him over wide receiver. I'm taking Christian Kirk. All right, should Taylor be started or give him a week to see what happens? I know it's JT, but is Matt Ryan doing enough to open up the field for JT to run loose? So essentially what we saw over the first few weeks was Matt Ryan was not able to efficiently force defenders out of the box, so they were able to pretty much stuff JT. Typically, JT never got stuffed, right? He would turn these stacked boxes into breakaway runs because he'd end up breaking through a couple arm tackles from the linebackers and be left one-on-one with corners and safeties, which he would easily break through or outrun to the end zone. With Matt Ryan now in a position where he's opening up the offense, we could see a higher yards per carry, essentially less breakaway runs from what we saw last year, but I don't see a situation where you don't start JT.
You have to. You're just praying that he gets. They take a back that has really never played before, and they're like, you know what we're gonna do? Use you exactly how we should use Taylor. There's no way Taylor could catch these little routes out of the backfield. He can't do that. Just run him up the middle, silly boy.
Yeah,
it's infuriating.
You have to start Taylor, and congrats to you, Zach, because everyone else is having to choose between garbage, and you're deciding whether or not you want to start Jonathan Taylor.
I mean, the Tennessee defense is good, right? They're one of the top 5 teams up against the run in most leagues, depending on how your scoring is. They've been very good, and their secondary is trash. So we could see Matt Ryan throw 40 times in a game and JT run it 15 times. It really just depends on the game script. Indianapolis Colts are kind of brutal up against the run. We could see a couple breakaway runs from Derrick Henry. We could see a slower pace of play on that side, which would run up the clock. And then all of a sudden, JT literally ends the game with 12 to 15 carries and for 60 yards. So I can understand your concern, especially if he's not used in the receiving game because Deion Jackson's on fire or Nyheim Hines comes. By the way, we've seen an injury report on that. But no, I understand your concern, but I'm bullish on Jonathan Taylor getting you enough points to be satisfied, and you draft him in the first round for a reason. You're not benching him.
I'm just playing.
Okay, Hines playing.
When did I miss Pacheco being listed as a starter for today?
We actually had it in the notes, and there was a question coming up, so we were waiting to actually announce that all the way across. Yes,
Rutgers
Pacheco is
taking
starting.
W's. All right, we won last night, right? And now we're winning W's in the NFL, supplanting an LSU back that sucks. All right, let's go Rutgers.
I want to know where Jerick McKinnon ends up in this rotation now. If he's like completely getting pushed out because he was seeing snaps.
And I'd say he's probably taking the same role. Like I don't see his role leaving. It's not a great role anyway.
CEH isn't playing the receiving back then. CEH is now relegated to just purely backup duties on all downs.
He's never been the receiving back. That's what's so infuriating. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, maybe he plays a receiving back and Jerick McKinnon gets pushed out, but CH can't pass block. McKinnon at least knows the system well enough to pass block. So I'm interested to see where that goes today. That's one of the biggest things I'll be watching. All right, who would you flex in half-point PPR? What's up, Benjamin, by the way, man? Thanks for joining us again this week.
Ben?
Love seeing you in here. Etienne, David Montgomery, CEH, or gamble on the Pacheco start?
It's Etienne, but boy, do I ever want it to be Pacheco. I'm gonna lose my mind if that pops off.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Etienne here. Actually, no, I'm just flipping. We're gonna go to Montgomery and then Etienne on this one. You don't know what's gonna happen with like Pacheco could go off for 30 points or he could have 3 points. We just don't know. Like they're saying that he took the first team reps and expected to start. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not out due to injury or anything like that. So we just don't know. We've been fooled before by some of these reports and some of the things with the Chiefs backfield. So I don't know if Edwards-Helaire just goes away.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I cannot wait to watch this. With that being said, I'm not gambling on Dave Montgomery because Khalil Herbert looks like the better running back in this backfield. We don't know what's going to happen with this Patriots defense. They stuffed Nick Chubb last week. I don't really want to gamble on Dave Montgomery seeing a ton of the workload because it could be Khalil Herbert for all we know. I'm going to go with Etienne.
We know that it's not Khalil Herbert. Like
we
Montgomery
had this
came back.
conversation 2 weeks ago, and then Montgomery got 90% of the snaps. They
Stop it.
You can't like base your you can't expect logic from some of these.
You're like Jacob with his Tony Pollard propaganda. If you say it for 4 straight years, eventually you'll be correct with this Khalil Herbertness. All right. If Montgomery is playing, he's getting 80% of the work, which is fine. But Etienne's a more explosive player. I'll take Etienne.
Hold on. Let me peep this real quick because the snap count, yeah, it was pretty brutal. Never mind.
Yeah.
The thing was, every time that Khalil Herbert came into the game, he got a touch. That's what I was looking at. It's like literally like the snap count's not the same, but he still assumed 33% of the rushing attempts.
And he looks way better. Like,
he looks so
everything
much
you're
better.
saying is correct, but yeah, like Montgomery came back from a knee injury. We're like, okay, maybe he'll be like on a pitch count, and he had like 90% of the RB touches, and Khalil Herbert was just poof gone. It's like, why?
It's one of those things where everything you're saying is correct while you're also lying through your teeth. Like it's a rare combination.
Khalil Herbert, 7 attempts, 75 rushing yards. Dave Montgomery, 15 attempts, 67 rushing yards. So he had 33% of the touches. I mean, Montgomery's only getting. My point is, right, is Dave Montgomery still is getting you less than 10 points per game, even if he is seeing the majority of the touches because he's not good.
Well, Herbert had a 60-yard run that kind of beefed up his.
I don't care. I don't care.
He was 6 for 15.
I remember that. Yeah,
7 for 75.
I remember. I just didn't want to bring that up. But regardless, Dave Montgomery's not good. I would rather take Travis Etienne and hope for a blow-up week in a negative game script, which is what we're expecting. We talked about it before the show. Giants are expected to win. I still feel comfortable playing James Robinson in hopes that they stay neutral. But, I mean, if the Giants go up by 10 points at any point in time, it's going to be Travis Etienne season. I'd rather take Etienne. All right. What's going on? BTD Reacts. He said he came over from Facebook to support us on YouTube. Thank you very much, my friend. Any word on Keenan Allen? He's in my flex, and the only people who can replace him is Dobbs, Wilson, Gus Edwards, or Hunter. Dude, Romeo Dobbs has been shit lately, but like I kind of like him this week up against this Washington secondary who's going to get absolutely spanked. I mean, I like Romeo Dobbs. Like, I'm not like, oh my God, you got to play him no matter what, but I kind of like him to an extent as a safety valve. It really depends on your projection. Like if you're projected, if you think that you're going to lose this game because you have rough matchups and you're facing a team that's just stacked, wait to play Keenan Allen. But if it's going to be a close game, you're projected to win, I'd rather take the guaranteed points versus worrying about Allen playing or not.
The Chargers have a bye next week, and they asked Keenan Allen what would help him play this week, and he said God. So I think he's trolling us at this point. I just can't trust it, and I believe the Chargers are a late game, at least a 4:30 game. So I would go with one of your other options. Wilson still could get some play. Like I don't think CMC is going to come in and take all of it. They're talking about like goal line packages and things like that. CMC's not gonna. I'm not saying CMC's going to be on a pitch count, but Wilson's not going to just go away and take CMC's not going to take the entire offense. He just showed up on Friday for like on the walkthroughs. Like they're going to have packages for him and he's going to get in there, but like he's not going to get the 90% workload that he's gotten in the past. Like he literally just showed up. But I'll go with you on this one. Give me Dobbs. I think it's Hunter Renfrow on the bottom. He's dealing with a hip injury. He's playing through. He hasn't been trustworthy, but I'm going to flip it. Waller's out. Give me Hunter Renfrow. If it's Renfrow, not Hunter Henry.
So first off, shout out to BTD. I actually am subbed to your YouTube channel. This is like I subbed to that a while ago. So shout out to you. Happy to see you here. Good to see you. And I'm taking Dobbs as well. Take the receiver. Take the receiver who is getting used. Keenan Allen is trolling.
If you can let us know in the chat, obviously, please put it in there, and we'll make sure we get to that. If you guys can keep an eye on the bottom of the chat to see if he responds on that. All right. What about Naeem Hines? Have him too. I just grabbed Melvin Gordon off the waiver wire too. Not sure who this is. Like I said, if you're watching in the Facebook group, head over to Fantasy Football Discussion. It's facebook.com/FFD, the actual page, and we'll be able to see who we're actually talking to if you go over to the page and watch it. It just won't show us who it is through the group. So I'm not sure exactly who this was, but I wouldn't play Melvin Gordon up until we see what happens. Last week he was injured, so it wasn't a big mystery as to why he didn't play. Of course, he was frustrated because he was facing his former team, and the rushing opportunities just weren't good. But I think that he was
Who
doing
was
some
hurt?
stuff. Melvin Gordon came in with like 3 different injuries. He was dealing with like a lingering hip injury, and then a shoulder, and then something else. He was actually he came in questionable.
Yeah, him and the team both said he was totally fine though. Like they both came out and were like, "Yeah, he's fine." And Gordon himself was like, "Yeah, I was fine. I could have helped. I could. That was his quote after the game. I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see how that all pans out. But still, he's starting this week. I still don't really want to roll him out. Naeem Hines, I don't really want to roll out. I don't really know who the other 2 guys were. If it was like the Darnell Mooney or Garrett Wilson, because I'm looking at that one. I still wouldn't play either one of those guys over Darnell Mooney or Garrett Wilson.
Correct.
All right, let's go ahead and hop down to this one. Came in late. Have we addressed the Pacheco news? Should you play him over a guy like Latavius Murray? I would play Pacheco over Latavius Murray.
I would too. I think it's going to be a pretty bad offense with Rippon. And he asked that question before we addressed it, so he might have got the answer earlier as well.
All right, full PPR. Bateman, London, Hawkinson. Ooh, this is interesting. Bateman's playing. We have Denzel Ward out. I kind of like Bateman. In this one.
Bateman is the play if you're looking like he's only getting like 4 targets a game when he is playing. He's not getting a lot, so he needs to make do with it, and he has. Hopefully we see the targets go up for Bateman. That's the boom bust play right there. I think the safe play is to go with Hawkinson.
I mean, the Cowboys are one of the best teams up against tight ends. They've been absolutely brutal. They're only allowing 5 receptions and 34 yards per game to the tight end position thus far. I mean, it's not like they've played like impressive tight ends, but they've played feasible tight ends.
That was going to be my question. I'd like to know what tight ends they played, because there's only 3 or 4 that maybe are in that impressive category.
Tyler is not that.
Dallas Goedert went 2 for 6 for 22 yards last week. Higbee ended up having 7 catches, but he only put up 46 yards. Logan Thomas 5 for 19. Daniel Bellinger ended up being 4 for 40. So it's not like they've played like Hayden Hurst 5 for 24. They're allowing a few receptions. If you're playing PPR points, that's still a decent tight end lineup that they've played. Maybe Hawkinson can do a little bit better than those guys, but I mean they pretty much erased good tight ends, especially if tight ends are in the game plan like Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, I'm still thinking Bateman. Hawkinson is lame. He's just not good. I remember last year you got mad at me for saying that Hawkinson is overrated. You got mad at me for it, and that was fine, but womp womp womp.
Zach actually has a little bit more detail to it. So he has Chubb, Fournette, Stevenson, and Pierce. You're going to be playing all 3 of these guys. In most cases, but
I'm taking Stevenson out of that. Damian Harris is back.
I want to know how many he has to start, because I would definitely take Chubb over him. And then Fournette, I would probably take over JT actually. So I mean, that's a loaded team. Like Dave said, like everybody else is asking these iffy questions. You got a loaded team, my friend. Good drafting.
I'm currently sitting here right now trying to decide like if I want to roll out Craig Reynolds or Darius Slayton, and you're out here flexing this running back barrage on people. So it's just like, I want to help you, but at the same time,
I might even take Pierce against the Raiders, because the Raiders have an absolutely abysmal rush defense as well over JT. I mean, I'm going to pivot. I know I said you got to play JT, but you really don't have to with this stacked lineup. Like I was thinking like, okay, if you're going to have like JT versus, I don't know, Antonio Gibson or somebody like that, I would definitely play JT. But these are studs, man. These are studs. I don't think you have to play JT. All right. Or do you want to answer that, Dave, or you want to move on? You want to start the next question?
No, you're good.
All right. We have Bateman, Dobbs, Pacheco, Terry, or Pickens. Standard league, not PPR. Which one you got, Dave?
Oh, man. Standard league. I'm going to go with Pickens on this one. Give me Pickens. I do think Terry McLaurin gets peppered. Taylor Heineke loves him.
Yeah.
And but he's got a tough matchup. Terry does have a really tough matchup this week, probably gets Jair Alexander a lot. And Heineke's not going to care. He's still
No,
going to
he's
throw the
not.
ball. And so Alexander probably gets a catch or two, and Terry McLaurin gets a bunch of catches. But I'm going to go Pickens.
I have never seen a quarterback put a receiver in more dangerous situations than Heineke does with Terry McLaurin. He literally gets his head chopped off regularly, and Terry McLaurin still obliges by going to get the ball anytime that Heineke throws it up because he gets those numbers, but it's still not great numbers. It's
Yeah.
typically like above average, and then it's like,
It was like 50% dangerous throws last year, and like 50% of Terry McLaurin's targets were contested. Like,
yeah, it's absolutely absurd. It's crazy. I'm going to go. I like Pickens. I do like Terry McLaurin somewhat, but I don't want to play him up against the Packers and what could be a very low scoring game. I'm taking the under on this one. I think it's at 42.5. I'm taking the under. Absolutely. But Pickens, I think, has a little bit more opportunity up against the Dolphins, who should put up points. I think you're going to see negative game script for the Steelers. I think they're going to end up targeting Pickens at least 10 times in this game, at least 7 times, likely 10 times.
I'll say Bateman for the touchdown.
I do like Bateman. Actually, God, that's tough. I do like Bateman.
Like, Baltimore is so frustrating with players coming off of any injury. We're going to give you 5 opportunities this week in case you tweak it. And then they end up tweaking it anyway. So, whatever. But I'll still take Bateman for the touchdown. Like, if you guys seen the splits with Bateman on the field and off the field, I know that came up this week. It's absolutely disgusting. He's on the field. I mean, please, for my heart,
Lamar Jackson's QB1 overall.
Yeah, I need Jackson back. This last couple weeks have been very sad.
I'm going to pivot next week. I'm going to pivot just because of standard league, and I'm going to go with Bateman as well. I do think that it's going to be close, but with standard league, Bateman has the ability to break away big ones. Pickens, we haven't seen that yet. I'm going to go with Bateman over Pickens in standard. If it was like half point or PPR, I might end up going with Pickens.
Not too many people are out there on the standard fantasy football street, so shout out to you.
All right, Alec Pierce or Christian Kirk. Dude, that Titans secondary is so bad.
Give me Kirk, baby.
I feel like I should say Kirk just because that's the right thing to say, but I kind of want to go Pierce for the fun of it. Just because I could see Pierce with 2 touchdowns and 90 receiving yards on like 3 targets.
I'm going to go with Pierce on this one, break the tie. They're both close. I think I have them both as back or a top end wide receiver 3s.
Yeah, I could see that. All right, Alec Pierce or Pacheco. I'm going to go Pierce. Alec Pierce again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Up until we see what happens. We don't even know, like, half the time Chiefs running backs don't even have value. Like, CH has had a few games where he's put up numbers, but even the starting running back doesn't do anything, and it's still going to be a timeshare.
This is another one where if you're projected to lose, then you go with Pacheco because he's got the higher ceiling. If he does go take the starting job and get 2 touchdowns, Pierce is what's Pierce's ceiling? I mean, he's been like
3 touchdowns, 90 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
I mean,
this Titans secondary is terrible, man.
He can have a 5. He can have a 5 for 90 and 1, and you're laughing your way to the bank. I mean, I don't know how much high Pacheco would need multiple touchdowns, and you don't know what the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to line up Travis Kelce on tight end day under center and rush one in, and then throw to him 2 more times.
No, I get it. I picked Pierce. I'm just like I said, if Pacheco's starting running back, you could get 20 touches.
For everyone asking the Pacheco question, that's the reason why it's probably not him. Even though I'm super excited as a Rutgers fan that he's going to play today.
All right, Tom Brady or Jimmy G. Jimmy G has an interesting matchup. We could see some targets to CMC, some design screens.
Still Brady.
Is it though?
Brady gets Carolina, and I don't think they take the pedal off the metal if they're up by 20. Brady's an angry dude right now. They're 3-3. Godwin's back. I think they dropped 40 points on the Panthers today.
Yeah, healthy offense for Brady. And it's still Garoppolo. So
positive field position. He's not gonna have over 300 yards passing. They're gonna have field position advantage the entire game. So even if he does end up having, 4 touchdowns, you're only gonna see 200 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. they're going to have 60-yard drives at most this entire game. So I don't know, man. I kind of like Jimmy G up against the Chiefs. They're going to have negative game script possibly. Like we could see a shootout to an extent, or at least a high scoring game. I kind of like Jimmy G in this one up against
Jimmy Garoppolo's ceiling this year was 18 points against that same Carolina team, and their offense still pretty good. So if that's his ceiling, I'll still take Brady, who still throws the ball probably more than any other quarterback in the league at this point. I'll just take, and you're giving Brady multiple good starting field positions. That's touchdown city. It's going to happen unless they somehow decide to run the ball in, which they can't do anyway.
Fournette hasn't been terrible. Brady. All right, AJ Dillon or Hunt. Oh man, this is tough because historically Chubb has not been able to perform up against the Ravens. I still like Chubb this week because I think it's a different Ravens team than we've seen in the past. But
yeah, because Hunt shitty.
Hunt keeps taking over this role, it feels like. And the Ravens could end up being up in this game, so Hunt could see those targets. AJ Dillon hasn't really done anything, but the Washington front seven has been porous. God, man, this is tough. In a slugfest, I think I'm going to fade Dillon. I do. I just think that there's not going to be enough points scored. I want to be in a game that has points scored, so I'm going to go with Hunt.
I would go with Hunt too, and I find it interesting you say they could be down and they'll target. They got absolutely roasted by New England, and he saw a target. Kareem Hunt did. He only saw 5 total opportunities. So
yeah, I think they learned
terrifying. From that. I hope so. But I'll also fade AJ Dillon, who was one of the most overdrafted players in fantasy football last year. It's just absolutely wild to me. Standalone value, my ass.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. It has not been good though.
This whole
offense hasn't been good. This whole offense has been terrible. We expect this offense to be slightly better than it is. We expected AJ Dillon to be used in creative situations, and he hasn't.
It's amazing what happens when you remove, I don't know, Devontae Adams from this offense, and you replace him with a would-be wannabe wide receiver and the boy they drafted, Watson.
Dave, do you have any take on this?
Nah, I'm same thing. It's Hunt. That Dillon usage is just all over the place. The offense is bad. I'm gonna go with Hunt.
Can I also just shout out my Lamar Jackson mug here?
Oh, that is nice.
For anyone that doesn't know the play, somebody actually wrote the play on the back of the mug. The spin move against the Bengals is absolutely phenomenal. It's one of my favorite things.
I love that, man. Shout out. J.K. Dobbins is out, by the way. So Josh Reynolds on this one.
Yeah.
Tony Pollard or Kenyon Drake today. I'm taking Tony Pollard. I think he has a massive week. I think this is the week that we've kind of been waiting for from Tony Pollard. Well, I haven't because I've never been a Tony Pollard guy, but the week that everybody else has been waiting for. You're welcome, whoever this was. We have I'm deaf, ran on a paper. You would start my question.
I'm ready. Cooks. Montgomery. Muth. Whether it's a joke or not, we make sure we take care of you.
All right. I'm going Lazard.
Who uses paper now?
Cooks. Wait.
just get pictures on your phone.
Lazard, Cooks, and then Muth.
I was joking with Nick's script. He said he lost his voice, so that's what I was saying. We're live.
All right. Is Thomas writing down his guys? Not the Bears. Okay.
Not the beers, I thought it said.
All right. Yeah, and it was Hunter Renfrow, by the way, earlier.
I really wish you know what? You've inspired me to go back and start learning ASL again. Because that was painful.
All right. James Robinson, Brian Robinson, Damian Harris, or AJ Dillon, PPR, pick one. Okay, for this one, I'm going to go with Dillon.
Najee Harris has worked himself into this group. It might be.
Wait, no. Is it Najee or Damian? Ooh.
Well, I mean, they both virtually suck. So
I'm still going AJ Dillon, I think, over Najee. I think I am.
And I don't know. I'm just saying, like, normally, if not, Najee wouldn't be in this group, but he's played so bad. He's definitely played himself into this.
Yeah, he went from RB3 to an RB3. I'll go with Dillon here.
I'm gonna go with James Robinson.
All right.
This would be different.
Previous question, you meant Kenyon Drake or
Oh.
So
Josh
Drake or
Reynolds.
Reynolds?
Still Reynolds.
Yeah, I'd go Reynolds.
Yeah, DJ Chark is out. You on the IR.
Yeah, that's it right there.
And you
All right.
just don't want the Baltimore backfield, guys. I'm sorry. Also, you're welcome, man. I enjoy your YouTube stuff, man. It's a good time.
All right, Pollard or Raheem Mostert?
Oh, still Pollard.
I'm
Actually, I'll take Mostert.
I'm
I'll
gonna
take
go with
Mostert.
Mostert. He's the starting back, but I think they're both okay plays. I got them both with RB2s.
All right.
Oh, Detroit and Dallas have the higher implied point total. No,
Yeah, Detroit defense. That's a pretty good matchup.
I'll still take
Pollard,
Mostert.
Like you said earlier, logic may not prevail, and you might just see like a whole bunch. They might keep feeding Zeke.
All right, I have a wide receiver spot I need filled standard. I have Deontay Johnson, Alec Pierce, Michael Gallup. Oh, man, if it's standard, I was going to say Deontay Johnson, but you can't play Deontay Johnson in standard leagues right now. You can't.
I don't have a white flag or a white towel, so I'm waving this green one for Deontay Johnson. I surrender. Like, he's gone. Never him.
Aruware has been absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal this year.
Like, so has the Pittsburgh passing game for everyone.
No, I'm talking about for the Steelers.
Oh. I was gonna say.
I'm sorry, not for the Steelers, for the Lions. The Detroit Lions, like Okuda's been good, but Aruware has been absolutely terrible over there. Like, he's been the worst corner, I think, in the NFL so far this season. He's allowed a ton of yardage, a ton of receptions. I think Michael Gallup might actually be the answer with Dak Prescott coming back. I kind of like Michael Gallup.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
I'll take Alec Pierce because it's Dak's first game back, and Dak wasn't exactly the best when he was there. So I'll take Alec Pierce.
Yeah, it's close between Alec Pierce and Gallup for me, but I'm going to take Gallup.
These are all good options.
Yeah. All right. I need a flex PPR. Kyle Pitts, Kareem Hunt, or Jacob Myers. Ooh.
Reminder, it is tight end day. Just putting that out there.
I kind of like Kyle Pitts. I mean, he scored the touchdown last week. We saw him integrated into the offense.
No. Take the real Deontay Johnson and play Jacoby Myers.
I just can't get behind. Like, I know we're all excited, but 3 targets, 3 catches, 19 yards. And the fact that we were all excited about it tells us all we need to know about Kyle Pitts in 2022. Good news. He's just 22 years old, or 21 years old. So plenty of years to come. I'm going to go with the running back in this one and go with Kareem Hunt, but I do like Jacoby Myers as well.
Yeah, that's brutal. I think you should go with Jacoby Myers. It's just the yards that are being allowed to the tight end position from the Bengals.
You do your rankings. You're like, I can't, like, it's hard to put Kyle Pitts outside of your top 10, but it's hard to put him in it, even with how bad the tight ends are.
All right. Trade AJ Brown away for Najee Harris. I'm fairly stacked wide receiver. His Jefferson, Metcalf, Lazard, Lockett. Harris going to pick it up. He's still getting 15 touches a game. For me, this just depends on where your record lies, but most likely not. I would need more, but I would think about it depending on where your record lies. Because if you're sitting there at like 2-4 and you need something to happen because you're probably not going to make the playoffs because maybe you haven't had any running backs and you're desperate to get one at this point, at 2-4, I might think about making the trade if I got a little bit more back. I wouldn't do it for this, but I would need more. Meanwhile, it's like if you're in a winning situation where you're 5-1, I don't even know why you would consider a trade. If you're dead even, I'd still probably end up holding on this, but regardless of whatever we say, you need more, right?
Is this redraft?
Yeah.
I'm going to assume it's a redraft question.
Yeah, it's all redraft.
I still wouldn't do it.
Just going back to Keenan Allen, I'm watching fantasy football now. They just put him up as the 12th and 18th ranked receivers on the different analysts. So maybe they're feeling like he's going to play. I mean, they're talk about it right now. I can't hear exactly what they're saying, but they got him ranked pretty high for someone that is questionable.
Interesting, but I'm still not like here's a problem with trading for Najee Harris thinking that it's going to benefit. You can just go and pay less and get Damian Harris, and you'll probably be just as okay. Like, don't trade AJ Brown. Don't trade the
Damian Pierce. You could get a lot better options than Najee Harris if
Yes.
you're fishing with that kind of bait.
Yeah.
All right, Aaron Jones or Chris Godwin? I'm taking Chris Godwin.
Godwin easy. Yep.
Godwin.
All right, Big Geno Smith, Dak Prescott. Ooh,
Geno.
This one's interesting. This could be a shootout, right? For the Seahawks.
Yeah.
But it's still Dak.
And the Chargers.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Geno just because, again, it's Dak's first game back. It's his first week of practice, and he wasn't elite before he went down. I'll take Geno.
Yeah, I'll take Geno.
I'll take Geno. They're talking about Tyler Lockett now too. He's another one that's questionable. Watch out for him later on.
Even if Lockett doesn't play, I mean, even if Lockett does play, you're not playing him because when he plays through injuries, he's brutal. They use him as like a decoy. He drops balls. Right? He's not effective when he gets the ball in his hands. He's not the same person. We've seen it year after year after year after year. Literally like 4 or 5 years running. He has this lapse in fantasy points for X amount of games because he's dealing with injuries. And then we're all like, oh, Tyler Lockett's gone. Then he comes back and has an excellent like finish to the season. We're like, oh, wait, Tyler Lockett's still great. Yeah, he was just dealing with an injury and he doesn't play. He plays through every injury possible. Right? He's one of the toughest motherfuckers in the game. But he's not good when he does play. All right, Drake or Reynolds? I think we answered this a little bit earlier. We're going with Reynolds on this one. Bateman or Cooks? He needs this win. Cooks, I love Cooks' look this week, right? Up against the Raiders. We could see Brandin Cooks with a touchdown, resurfacing as a wide receiver 2, back in wide receiver 2, but still wide receiver 2, right around 60, 70 yards, maybe 80, maybe 100. But I like Bateman's upside. It really depends. If you need this win, if you're like 2-4, you need to make sure that you stay in the race. The safer option for me is Cooks, but I like Bateman's upside.
Same.
I'll actually take Brandin Cooks here.
All right, Derek Carr or Jimmy G? I love Derek Carr this week. I'm on board with Derek Carr. I think he ends up as a top 5 quarterback this week.
Did somebody? I really wish I could remember who said it, but somebody said that Derek Carr hasn't thrown for 3 touchdowns in like a year, basically. So that's it's funny to me. They're both mid. They're both super mid. I'll actually take Garoppolo here because Josh Jacobs is hopefully going to find his way into the end zone at least twice.
Yeah, the upside's not there, but I think both these guys are pretty safe back in QB1. So give me Carr.
All right, Kyle Pitts or Pacheco for the flex position. Ooh, guys, which one are you going on this one? I'll take Pitts, but
I'll take Pacheco.
Thomas, you're breaking the tie. He's dying. We'll come back to him. All right, do I trade CMC? Jeez, dude. Do I trade CMC for ETN and Walker? 1 point PPR. This is interesting for me. I think I would make that trade. I love Walker this year. I think the ETN is breakout towards the end of the season. I kind of like this trade. I think it depends on if you need depth at the running back position. Like if you're sitting out there trying to stream running backs, you got like Benjamin in your starting lineup right now with CMC. I think I'd rather move down and take the 2 guys who I still think finished the season from here out. I think they finished the season as a RB1 or tie-in RB2. CMC is still elite, and you obviously want the elite plays. But if you're in a desperate situation where you need a running back, I think I'd make that trade.
Gaffrey.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with CMC. You want difference makers when it comes down to the playoffs. I will say if it's like a 3 flex, like a really deep one, then I would consider it just because those leagues you're stuck with some of these other options at flex, and it's nice to have 2.
All right, let's go ahead and move down. We're coming to the end of our questions, guys, so make sure you get them in. We got 9 minutes left. We'll try and speed through the rest of these. So let's try and keep these answers short so we can get to all these questions that we have left. Gus Edwards or ETN? I'm taking ETN.
Don't play Gus Edwards.
ETN.
Please.
All right, we have Kyle Pitts, George Pickens, or Pacheco in the flex non-PPR. I'll take George Pickens in this one.
Pickens.
I'll say Pacheco just so I can say it once.
All right, would you start Pacheco instead of Najee at RB2?
No, but that's hilarious. Najee Harris, top 5 dynasty back here, folks.
I think there's going to be points in this Chiefs game. I actually kind of like Pacheco, but I couldn't bring myself to do it over Najee Harris, but it would be very close.
Top 5 dynasty back Najee Harris, folks. I'll play Najee still, but hilarious.
All right, Donta Foreman, Chuba Hubbard, or Isaiah Pacheco.
See, this is why we said that we're all mad that you had so many great running backs, person who talked before, because people have to make this decision in other leagues, all right? So, like, trade someone, spread the wealth. I'll still take Pacheco because Chuba sucks. I love Donta, but he's a north-south runner on a bad offense.
Yeah, up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you don't not want to play any running backs up against Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
He's even saying going forward. Like, if you're
going forward,
moving forward,
we just don't think this is going to be a Mike Davis situation. It's a different offense. It's a different offensive coordinator. Like, Foreman is not going to go in there and get like CMC's job. It's going to be split. They're talking about it's being split between Foreman and Hubbard. They're talking about Blackshear being part of the offense. And it's a terrible offensive line, terrible offense. I'm just, no thanks.
Guys, I might have to change my opinion on Gus Edwards. He kept his dreads. So we have dreaded
Gus Bus.
That's too swaggy to not play him. I mean, adjust the ranks.
Adjust your pants, adjust your lineups.
All right, Deontay Johnson, Brian Robinson, Kirk, or Sutton. Full PPR. I'd probably take Sutton on this one. I said earlier I don't really want to play him, but I'll take him over these options. Christian Kirk is close for me though.
I'm writing that one down. Hold on. You're playing Cortland Sutton with Rippin over Deontay Johnson and Christian Kirk.
Oh, yeah, I don't like Deontay Johnson this week. And Christian Kirk, the Giants haven't allowed any wide receivers to do anything against them so far this season. So
Sutton's going to get the sauce treatment. Plus, he's got Rippin throwing the rock. I had to drop him down pretty far. I have to check the rankings before
Yeah, sauce is a good point.
I'll take Brian Robinson and Christian Kirk here. Doesn't matter if you don't like him or not, or how they use Antonio Gibson, but Brian Robinson's gonna he's getting the work.
I'm gonna go with Deontay Johnson and Kirk. Full PPR.
Oh, it's start 2. Oh, so yeah, I'm gonna go Kirk and Sutton. Dude, that's such a great point with Sauce Gardner, but like,
and Rippin.
Yeah, that's my lead point.
How can you?
All right, I'm tilted.
Tua.
I wrote it down though. I still wrote it down, so I'm gonna. That's a callback. Jimmy G or Tua. I'll take Tua. Same possible outcomes, but I mean, one has Hill and Waddle. That's so unfair.
Yeah, Tua. All right, I'm gonna go. Joe Mixon or Jamal Williams. Joe Mixon, he hasn't been good, but he's still been getting the touches. We have a Dallas defense that can absolutely blow up Jamal Williams, and then Jamal Williams with the game script might not even see a touch in the second half. I mean, he will, but he won't see very many if it ends up becoming negative game script, like significant negative game script. So I'm gonna go Joe Mixon.
I love your dramatic pause on that last one. There's like a dramatic one. You were just like, yeah, like it wasn't even an enthusiastic. Yeah, it was just a very sad. Yeah. It's Joe Mixon, folks. He's not like Najee where like he's getting the work, but he also sucks. Like Joe Mixon's getting the work and he's also good. So,
all right, we have Myers or Pittman. Pittman for me, long shot. There's a wide gap between Myers and Pittman. And then I'm going to go with Lazard over Najee.
Is this for the same team? Probably not.
No, it's two different leagues.
I was going to say, because I would have just played Myers and Pittman. But yeah, I'm taking Pittman and I'll take Lazard. Oh.
I'm going to go Pittman and Najee. I know Lazard is a touchdown machine, but I just can't. You can't rely on touchdowns.
All right. Do we have any word on Waddle yet?
No.
Okay. All right. Drake or B-Rob for RB2. Have Breece Hall locked in as the RB1. I'll go Brian Robinson, but I don't like either option.
That's so disgusting. That's absolutely disgusting.
I'm gonna go Robinson. He's more clear, the lead guy, and you could see Justice Hill go off and be the number one guy today, or Drake. You just don't know.
I'm gonna stick with don't play the Baltimore Ravens backfield, except for dreaded Gus Edwards.
All right, full PPR, wide receiver Jacob Myers or Pittman Jr. Gut is Pittman, but he was held at 35 in their last meeting. Pittman.
I'm still taking Pittman for sure.
All right, Pitts or
I'm looking at these
Freiermuth.
rankings. They got Christian McCaffrey at 18, Jeff Wilson at 20 on Fantasy Football Now right now.
I wonder how different people have the rankings. I wonder if it's like, one analyst has like Jeff Wilson at 10, another one has him at 30, and then it's swapped for Christian McCaffrey,
Yeah.
All right, Pitts or Pat Freiermuth. I think it's Pat Freiermuth in this one. He's back. He's going to be needed to use as a target. Nick Needham is out now, I believe. So they're going to have their backup safeties playing against the slots. Pat Freiermuth sees targets in the area up against the slot consistently. He's going to use that big body to bring down a touchdown this one. I think Pat Freiermuth actually has a pretty good game.
Yeah, 10 targets, 7 targets, 4 targets, and 9 targets for the first 4 weeks of Pat Freiermuth when Trubisky was around.
Kenny Pickett's been throwing the rock. Like Mariota didn't hit his player props for completions last week, and he only had 4 incomplete passes. Like, Mariota's just not throwing the ball a lot, and Kenny Pickett is. Kenny Pickett's been quietly pretty good for fantasy football. If they didn't have those turnovers week 1, he would have had a 20-point performance.
All right, we got one last question. Henry, Dulcich, or Otten? I know a lot of people are on Dulcich this week, like a lot of people are, but I mean, it's not like he has Russell Wilson throwing him the rock.
Yeah, no, it's just sad, but Dulcich looks as one sexy human. But I would actually take Cade Otton.
I think I would too.
I never want to play Hunter Henry. Like, I never want to play Hunter Henry, ever.
And we don't know if it's going to be Zappy or if it's going to be Mac Jones yet.
I don't think it would matter either way. Like, Hunter Henry isn't really that good with Mac Jones in there. So I'll take Cade Otton just because he has Brady and they throw it 500,000 times a game.
All right, we have 2 more that snuck in here, 3 more that snuck in here. We're going to answer these last 3 and then we're done, guys. We got to go. We got to go set our lineups. Deontay Johnson, Alec Pierce, Amari Cooper, Damian Harris, full PPR. Start any 2.
Alec Pierce, Amari Cooper.
Same.
All right, start Najee Harris or Kenyon Drake. Najee Harris. All right, Jamal Williams, Zeke or Mostert. Zeke.
I'll take Elliott, sadly.
I'll go with Jamal.
All right, Brian Robinson, Kirk Sutton, Deontay Johnson, Drake, full PPR. Start 3.
Didn't we answer this one? I think.
No, we did start 2. He didn't include Drake in there, I don't think.
Brian Robinson, Christian Kirk, and I'll take Deontay Johnson.
I'll take Kirk Sutton, Deontay Johnson.
Yeah. Kirk, Deontay Johnson, Sutton.
Watch Sutton go 1 for 1 with a 5-yard touchdown, and Chase will celebrate it next week.
That's all I need. That's all he needs to outperform Brian Robinson, because Brian Robinson ain't going to do shit. Hey, thank you guys for coming in here. Dave, thanks for staying a little late, man. I know that you said that you had stuff to do today. So
yeah, I got to run real quick, but I'll be back.
All right, man. Thanks for coming in here. We'll see you next week. You guys can go find him over there on Twitter at Dynasty Dorks. Over there on TikTok, the same thing. You can find my buddy Thomas Tipple down below here on Twitter at Thomas Tipple FF. You can find me on Twitter at FF_intervention. If you guys are watching on YouTube, thank you very much. Make sure you guys hit like, hit subscribe, youtube.com/fantasyintervention. And if you guys are watching on Facebook, thank you very much. Fantasy Football Discussion, the group. Go check out our page, facebook.com/FF. So that way we can actually see your names pop up. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for letting us intervene with your starter sit questions. We're out.